Today, I wanted to share the 3 actions I took to finally break the cycle of constant ruts in my life. I lived for most of my life from rut to rut, from high to low, being quite unstable emotionally. I would rely on YouTube and reading self-development books by Jordan Peterson and by other great authors to finally build the inner motivation to keep moving forward. But I was stuck in a consumer mentality. I was constantly consuming all of these videos, all of these books, all of these articles, and never really applying them to my life, or applying them very sporadically and not during consistent amount of time. And whenever I talk to friends and colleagues, this topic of ruts always comes up. People nowadays are struggling more than ever to find purpose in their lives and to find the motivation and inner discipline necessary to take the steps to be able to move forward successfully in the world. And that is the reason why I wanted to make this video. These are the 3 tips that I have used to finally break out of those cycles of constant highs and lows, of being perpetually stuck in a rut cycle. And again, I have seen many videos talking about sleep, exercise, and diet. And those are all incredibly important to have a good foundation to be able to rise out of a rut sustainably. However, I wanted to go in a little deeper and talk about more specific actions that you can take to add to building a proper framework to be able to launch yourself out of those ruts sustainably and into the future with long-term effects. No artificial garbage, no superficial BS. These are 3 really actionable items that can truly catapult you out of your ruts and into a success spiral. So before we jump into the 3 tips, let's briefly talk about sleep, exercise, and diet. Sleep, exercise, and diet are crucial. Sleep, you need 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep every night. Exercise, you need to be doing some form of exercise every single day, either a light jog, a stroll, going to the gym. A mixture of cardio and weight training is preferable, in my opinion, not only to build physical health and endurance, but also mental fortitude. And then diet, of course, it's crucial. Try and cut sugars, try and eat as healthy as possible, drink a lot of water, no fizzy drinks, no processed foods. Try and limit all the things that you know are bad. This is just common sense. Most people know this. So once you have those fundamentals set, you are ready to build upon that great foundation. The first tip, write down your past, your present, and your future. This is something I learned from Jordan Peterson himself. To be able to be successful and get out of ruts and truly find the inner motivation necessary to move forward, you need to understand what is dragging you back, what is holding you back, which is your past, what you can do now to be able to truly emerge and transcend those ruts and be able to successfully come out on the other side. And then you need to establish a vision for the future, a high ideal to work towards. Not only that, but it is incredibly important to establish a best case scenario and a worst case scenario. In terms of the worst case scenario, you need to figure out where you could be in 5 years if all the decisions that you made from now till then were negative ones. Truly sit down with your own thoughts, your own demons, your own inadequacies, and figure out where the hell you could be in 5 years if everything went down the drain. And then establish a best case scenario. What if you made all of the correct decisions? Where could you be in 5 years? What is your potential in 5 years? What would you be living up to in 5 years? How much could your life change in 5 years? Once you establish really vivid best and worst case scenarios, have them present in your mind and have them somewhere accessible written down. That way, whenever you need some inspiration, you can look at the worst case scenario, fear the hell out of that, and start running towards the best case scenario. So you have that motivation inspired by fear of failure, fear of mediocrity, and then you have that inspiration by the hope of success, the hope of something better, the hope of transcending your ruts and your inadequacies and everything else that is flawed within you. How exactly can you go about doing this? Well, writing your best and worst case scenarios is easy. You can write it on whatever platform is accessible to you and a platform that you have easy access to, so you can view these materials on a fairly regular basis. And in terms of writing down your past, your present, and your future, I'm going to leave the link to Jordan Peterson's self-authoring program. This is a program where you do some guided writing in terms of fleshing out your past, your present, and the vision for your future. It is something I did a couple of years ago, and it is something that truly helped me understand what I was running from, the things that were dragging me back in my past, what I could implement actionably today to reach the vision for my future. It is something that is absolutely incredible, and the statistics speak for themselves. When this self-authoring suite has been implemented on college students and they have actually sat down and written down their past, their present, and their future, they are 30% more likely to stay in university. That is an astounding figure, and imagine all of the important psychological benefits that you get from such a shift in your life. So I truly suggest that you purchase the self-authoring suite by Jordan Peterson. It's going to be linked down below. It's very, very inexpensive, and it will truly help you to lay down a framework and a vision on how to get out of your rut and find the inner motivation and discipline to keep moving forward. Number 2 is all about understanding your own very unique psychological profile. If you understand what makes you tick, what makes you mad, what makes you excited, you will be able to truly harness that information and use it to transcend and emerge out of your ruts and start moving successfully forward and taking real steps towards your goals. When you start understanding your psychological profile, you can begin building an environment and you can begin surrounding yourself with people that enable you to thrive, people that actually build you and give value to your life. And when you understand your psychological profile, you can start really delving deep into who you are, who you've been, and who you want to be, and how best to achieve those things. Each one of us has a particular psychological profile and particular behavioral and temperamental inclinations. So to get out of a rut, there is no one single solution necessarily that fits everybody the same. That is why I recommend understanding your psychological profile, and it's something that I have not seen anybody else talking about on YouTube to get out of ruts. So how exactly do you understand your psychological profile? Well, you can start by talking to your family, to your friends, seeing what your behavior was like when you were a kid, when you were a child, and what made you tick. What sort of environments really allow you to thrive? What kind of activity levels during your day you need, how much rest you need to truly be in the best zone that you can, how much social interaction and what kind of social interaction do you need to be fulfilled, and what sort of activities, professional, academic, or personal, do you need to be involved in to truly be passionate about the outcome and be passionate about the life path you are creating. So talking to people is definitely one of the ways of doing it. But if you want to be a little more scientific, if you want to go the extra mile, I would recommend that you complete the Understand Myself psychological test, also another resource provided by Jordan Peterson. You can find it on understandmyself.com, and it is a test that I took a few years ago where they ask you 100 behavioral and temperamental questions, and then they divide your personality in the big 5 character traits. So let's hop into the results that I received from the Understand Myself session. I just want to go briefly through kind of how detailed it is and how it breaks down your personality. So here, as you can see, it divides your personality into agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversion, neuroticism, and openness to experience. Within each of these 5 categories, you have 2 subcategories, and these subcategories are later fleshed out in much detail to allow you to understand yourself at the deepest biological level. So for example, here you can see, for me, agreeableness is quite low. I'm in the 17th percentile. And then it breaks down everything into a little long and a little dense, but very, very interesting information that you can use to truly build frameworks to allow you to emerge out of ruts and to build that inner motivation and discipline. It breaks down agreeableness into those 2 subsections, namely compassion and politeness. You can keep going down, and as you can see, this is a very long and very detailed introspection into your psyche. And it is absolutely imperative to lay down a plan through which to emerge out of a rut. There is no one-size-fits-all answer necessarily. Yes, sleep, exercise, and diet are important, but once you have those set, you need to understand who you really are, what is your biological and psychological makeup, and then from there, take the decisions and actions that are gonna catapult you into greatness and success. And finally, the third tip I want to give you is that you do a digital detox. Recently, I was watching an interview on the School of Greatness YouTube channel with Cal Newport. Cal Newport is a computer science professor at Georgetown University and the renowned author of Deep Work. Deep Work is a book that essentially theorizes that in today's economy, the most valuable commodity is your ability to focus and to do deep work. In a culture where there are so many distractions and so many energy-sucking devices, such as TV, TVs, phones, social media, Netflix, and everything else, the ability to hyper-focus is going to be increasingly valuable as our economy becomes more and more specialized and the more menial tasks are becoming more automated, because today's jobs require a very high level of cognitive ability and cognitive focus. So in the book Deep Work, Cal Newport makes a challenge to his readers, and the challenge is essentially embarking in a 30-day digital detox where you cut yourself off from your phone, social media, Netflix, streaming services, video games, and everything else. Again, I think one of the major problems in today's society, particularly with young people, particularly with students, is the fact that we don't deal with our own thoughts and our own inadequacies. We are afraid of being bored. And by bored, I mean that your mind naturally starts to wander. Whenever we sit down on the bus, whenever we have a small moment of free time, we immediately grab our hands and do the automatic, almost trigger action of reaching into your pocket, taking out your phone, and start roaming social media or YouTube or whatever else it is. And we are no longer in tune with our inner emotions, our inner thoughts, our inner personality. We don't know who we are. So how the hell are you gonna get out of a rut and truly be successful and achieve the things you want to achieve if you are not willing to spend time with yourself and try and figure out how the hell you're gonna get out of the rut? If at every available moment you are on social media or on Netflix or on YouTube, there is no way that you are ever going to get out of a rut sustainably. Maybe artificially you can get out of a rut today and maybe next week, but you are not going to be able to build the framework and the routines and habits that will catapult you forward into success. So I truly recommend that you do a digital detox, especially for the people out there that are truly hooked on their phones, that have some social media addictions, that are constantly watching Netflix, and that feel that they're overwhelmed. If you feel like you're stressed, it's probably because you don't have enough downtime of actually sitting down, drinking some tea, watching the sunset, and relaxing a little bit with your own mind and with your own thoughts. So that is a very practicable action step that I recommend you take. Do a digital detox. I'm going to leave the links down below of how exactly to arrange this 30-day challenge and what exactly Cal Newport suggests to be maximally effective during this 30-day challenge. Not only that, but there are going to be links to their communities, because there is a 30-day challenge community where people hold each other accountable so that you don't keep falling into the same ruts and negative routines. It's incredibly important to have that accountability factor as well, so I'm going to leave those linked down below. And if you're interested in having some accountability, be sure to DM me on Instagram at ApexOfMan, and we can have a little back and forth in terms of what exactly we're doing well and what we're not doing as successfully as we could in terms of the digital detox and all of these new routines that we're trying to implement to finally emerge out of these constant rut cycles. So those were the 3 unique action items that I wanted to recommend to you guys. I know they have brought a lot of value to my life, and when I finally understood my psychological profile and I understood what my past, my present, and future was gonna be like, and I finally became comfortable with being with my own thoughts and having that downtime to reflect and ponder about what I wanted to be and what I wanted to achieve, my life changed completely. So I truly suggest that you follow these. Please leave a comment down below and tell me how that 30-day challenge is going. I know it's incredibly difficult, it's very difficult for all of us, but it's an initial step that you must take to truly unlock your potential. That's it for me. If you're interested in more videos like this, check this one out where I talk about the 5 hacks I use to improve my quarantine routine, or this one where I talk about how I got a 4.0 GPA at Boston University during quarantine. Thank you very much for your support. See you in the next video.